I had no desire to burn myself on the light. I couldn't open the door. It was locked. I couldn't open the door. It was locked. The door was locked. I wondered what they were hiding down below. It was the hole in the floor made by the safe on its way through. George's trail of destruction was easy to follow. It was a script for a vaudeville production. Ooh. My God, that's positively disgusting. As the door was locked, I realized this was my only way down. Here goes! The support strut was broken and useless. These were the old fuses for the electrics. From the state of the fuses, it was a miracle the theater never burned down. I couldn't open the door. A rickety old ladder. Just a light breeze would bring that down. The door of the broken safe hung open, exposing the empty interior. What had happened to the art of safe cracking? There was nothing left in the safe but rust and dust. I couldn't hear anything moving on the other side of the door. The door looked well made. The vase was exquisite. I knew just the spot for it in my apartment. But did I really want such a reminder of Cesaro? I decided against it. I didn't want the thing.
Worse.
Take that!
Not again!
This should keep you out of my way. Good job I had the scarf on me. Now, where was I before I was so rudely interrupted? The briefcase was full of papers. Somebody had been making a quick getaway. What could be so terrifying it had made them just run away? And who was the figure in the cloak? I rifled through the briefcase, but there were just papers to do with the theatre. Nothing pointed to Cesaro's dealings in Prague. The briefcase was filled with useless information about the theatre. It was some kind of security report for a private residence. Unfortunately, the report didn't include the address. Prague was certainly mentioned, but the actual location could have been anywhere. Tucked into the last pages was a photograph of a large castle. There was a dragon symbol on the back. There couldn't be too many castles like this in Prague. I had found enough to track down Cesaro. Is this the place?
Even spookier than the photo.
Sends a shiver up my spine.
Sure that's not your vampire-slaying genes kicking in?
Sorry, George. You're out of luck.
I hope Bruno's still in there. Now I'm really pissed.
Look on the bright side. We don't have to worry about car chases anymore.
Nico?
Yes?
Any ideas on how to get inside?
If you were clever, you'd have brought plans of the place.
Oh, I would I?
Of course, I realize that's not your style.
Obviously not yours either.
No, I prefer the challenge of winging it.
My feelings exactly. Besides, there's usually a solution at hand.
I'm worried they might have already killed Bruno.
Well, let's hope he didn't tell him too much.
You're all heart, George.
This castle looks really old.
Medieval, George.
Yeah, that too. By the way, have you and Labano...
Have we what?
Have you been doing that... stuff?
What stuff?
Boy-girl stuff?
Oh, that stuff.
Yeah, that stuff.
Boy-girl stuff.
That's what I said.
Listen, George. Andre is a good friend.
Yeah? So it's just a coincidence he's around again?
He's an expert in ancient manuscripts. Who else was I going to call?
Oh, what's wrong with the very old, very ugly experts you see all over the place? Shame we can't fix it.
Let's face it, George. It wasn't exactly getaway material.
These were serious gates. They were also very locked. I tried to look through, but the gap between the gates was non-existent. I could hear a dog on the other side. Sounds like security's pretty tight.
I know. You distract the dog, and I'll take out the guard.
Oh, very funny. We're gonna have to be careful here, or we're dead. They were locked, all right.
George, anyone who buys gates like these keeps them locked, okay?
Hey, I don't see you trying to get us inside. There was a small button to press. I was looking forward to meeting the butler. This guy was no butler.
What do you want?
Hi. Nice evening.
Clear off.
I was hoping you could help me. My car.
Tough.
But
This is private property. Get lost.
well, his interpersonal skill set needs a little work.
George, did you seriously expect him to open the gate for you?
Well, I certainly expected better manners. Stuck on the top of the pillars was a pair of stone statues. Nice dragons.
We're not on a sculpture tour, George.
Just getting to grips with local culture. Stuck on the top of the pillars was a pair of stone statues. Nico?
Yes?
The ironwork was solid. Look up there, on the gate.
Some kind of sensor.
Maybe it opens the gates remotely. Looks like it's a car park.
Uh-oh. George, over there, in the light.
A couple of heavies with guns. Suddenly, patent law had its attractions. The sensor was out of reach. I thought about it, but decided not to do it. I knew we should have taken that free upgrade. What do you think's wrong with it?
At a guess? Valves, gasket, cam belt, bearings, clutch, drive shaft, springs.
So nothing too serious then.
Be easier to build a new one from scratch.
The car had died, and there was nothing I could do to bring it back to life. They were locked, all right.
I told you to clear off.
Nico?
Yes?
Hey, Nico, will you press this button?
What do you have in mind, George?
See if you can get the guard to open the gate.
Hey, you! Where are you going? Clear off!
I had no reason to try that. Stuck on the top of the pillars was a pair of stone statues. No way was I doing that. That wasn't such a good idea. That wouldn't work here. That wasn't such a good idea. There wasn't a reason to try that. I thought about it, but decided not to do it. Not this time. Nico?
Yes?
Can you try to distract him again?
What do you want? Oh.
Bonjour, chérie. I have a tiny problem with my car. Could you help me with it?
Oh, I could help you with it, all right.
You are so kind.
You're French, aren't you?
God, that's incredible. How did you know?
Oh, I've been around.
Oh, I bet
Hey,
you
you!
have.
Where are you going? Clear off!
Nico?
Yes?
Can you try to distract him again?
Look, I've already told you I can't help you.
Oh, but it's so lonely out here. Just talk to me for a little while.
All right, but only for a minute or two.
What's your name, cher?
Boris, what's yours?
Helene.
Oh, that's a pretty name.
So's Boris.
Do you think so?
Oh, yes. Very sexy.
I'd gotten over the first hurdle, but there were more guards inside, and some of them had dogs, too. I had no reason to try that. rooting around in trash cans. One of my little foibles. Sometimes you get lucky and find a real treasure. Hey, string! You never knew when a piece of string was going to come in handy. There was nothing else of use in the trash can. The trash can was nothing special. It was a piece of string. You never know when string might come in handy. I was beginning to sound like my grandfather. Nothing struck me as strange about the trash can. I was pretty sure I'd seen James Bond do something clever with foil once. Trouble was, I couldn't remember what. It was a scrap of foil. My grandmother always kept a drawer full of foil that she'd cleaned up so that it could be used again. Ah, happy days. This trash can looked promising. America's best export, a burger. I put the half-eaten burger in my pocket. Must have been some kind of urban survival instinct at work. It was the half-eaten burger I'd found in the trash. At a pinch, it could stop me from starving, if I was really desperate. That wasn't such a good idea. Nope, that wouldn't work here. All I could see inside were half-painted walls and a bunch of decorator stuff. The windows were securely locked. All I could see inside were half-painted walls and a bunch of decorator stuff. I tried the doors, but they were locked. The doors were heavy and solid looking. The doors were heavy and solid looking. I tried the doors, but they were locked. could see more guards in the foyer. The building looked pretty classy inside. I could see more guards in the foyer. The building looked pretty classy inside.
Hey, you! Hey, you! Hey, you! Be quiet! Be quiet!
Hey, what kept you?
Oh, just chatting to Boris about old girlfriends.
See the helicopter?
Yep, Cesaro's favorite airline.
George, you need to find a remote. That's how the gates work, I think.
The gates wouldn't open from the inside. The small door looked out of place set into the wall like this. There was nothing behind the door, or my ear problem was back. This wasn't the way in. There was a small button to press. The button opened the gate, but it closed again when I let go. It was a remote with a single button on it. It was a small device with a button, maybe just the thing I was looking for. There was nothing in the glove compartment. Looks like somebody had started to repair the Jeep and got bored. The car jack was one of the heavy-duty types. The release handle was missing. It was a remote with a single button on it. Either it would open the iron gates, or they only had one TV channel over here. Now that wasn't quite right. That wouldn't work here. The doors were heavy and solid looking. I tried the doors, but they were locked. The car looked pretty sleek. They must have known I was coming. All locked. The car looked pretty sleek. They must have known I was coming. All locked. I could just make out what appeared to be a small storeroom. The small window was slightly ajar. Pretty sleek. State of the art. I decided against it. Heat-seeking missiles can be quite distracting if they go off by mistake. Shazam!
Wonderful, George.
Uh-oh, here come the guards.
Let's hide.
Hey, Nico. See any more guards you fancy?
You owe me big time for that one, George.
Hey, Nico, will you press that button?
What is it with you and buttons, George?
Just keep your finger on it until I get out again, okay? Now, which one's the lucky one? I needed all the luck I could get. There was a metal handle jammed into the doors. I thought I'd take the handle. I was improvising every step of the way. It was the release handle for the car jack. I had no reason to try that. Hey, Nico. See any more guards you fancy?
You owe me big time for that one, George.
The Jeep descended to the ground. The Jeep was in the middle of being repaired. The Jeep still wouldn't budge. They must have known I was coming. All locked. There was a gap in the window, but it wouldn't budge. There was a gap in the window, but it wouldn't budge. Working the handle into the narrow gap, I was able to open the small window. I could just make out what appeared to be a small storeroom. I tried to climb through, but the window was too small. Hey, Nico. See any more guards you fancy?
You owe me big time for that one, George.
I tried to climb through, but the window was too small. I'd already opened the window. Now that wasn't quite right. They must have known I was coming. All locked. Now that wasn't quite right. Not this time. There wasn't a reason to try that. I had no reason to try that. I had no reason to try that. The Jeep still wouldn't budge. Now that wasn't quite right. I let the handbrake off. Oops, there goes my no claims bonus. drain pipe looked like the way onto the roofs. After you, Nico.
This is definitely not a case of ladies first.
Oh, you want me to test it out?
Well, obviously. George?
Whoa! Nico! Watch out below! Jeez, only just made it. You were right!
Of course! I'm not stupid!
You're gonna have to find another way in if you can.
Okay, George. The bracket had fallen from the drain pipe when George climbed it. I thought the bracket might come in handy. It was the bracket from the drain pipe. The building in the photo looked like an old castle. Through the glass, I could just make out a small storeroom. The window was open. Here goes. The door may have been too thick, but I couldn't hear anything.
So, this Petra, they say she's a bit of a one.
Oh yes, takes pleasure in killing. Regards it as an art form.
Nasty.
One poor guy she tortured, took him a week to die.
How'd she do that then?
They called it the doner kebab.
Oh, you don't mean...
That's right. Everything just the same. Apart from the salad, of course.
And the pita bread?
Obviously.
What's she look like then?
Short blonde hair, that's all I know. I never got closer.
Don't blame you, she might get ideas.
Too right.
Chicken nuggets, for example.
Hot dog and beans.
Ouch!
If they saw me, I was done for. I had to find a way to walk around without attracting attention. But for now, I had to play the quiet mouse. A dented and rusted suit of armor. There was no way I could walk around in that. The armor was old and rusty. I didn't want to touch it in case it made a noise. That wasn't appropriate. It was a large barrel, probably for storing ale or wine. They certainly got through a lot of drink here. The faucet was too stiff to move. I couldn't budge it. That wouldn't work here. There was no reason to try that. Not right now. I turned the faucet, but nothing happened. The barrel was empty. That wasn't a good idea. The faucet was too stiff to move. I couldn't budge it. The armor was old and rusty. I didn't want to touch it in case it made a noise.
Did you hear something?
Not sure. Was it from upstairs?
Sounded like it.
You take the side stairs and I'll go up here. If there's anyone there, we'll have them trapped.
I had to hide or get caught.
Did you see anything up the side stairs?
Yet nothing.
Stay alert anyway. This place gives me the creeps.
I couldn't open the door. It was locked. I couldn't open the door. All was quiet. Not right now. That wasn't appropriate. I couldn't open the door. It was locked. The door was shut fast and wouldn't open. I couldn't hear anything moving on the other side of the door. Just another locked door. The door may have been too thick, but I couldn't hear anything. All was quiet. Just another locked door. All was quiet. Just another locked door. I couldn't hear anything moving on the other side of the door. A large, highly polished dresser. Someone had interesting taste in furniture. The dresser was locked. Even for an antique, the lock was sturdy. It was a large luggage case. Petra's name was on the label. She certainly didn't travel light. The case was filled with clothes. Lying on the top was a small hairdryer. A cordless hairdryer lay on top of the clothes in the case. For the woman who likes to live life to the full. Petra certainly had a new take on that idea. I picked up the hairdryer. It was another large luggage case. You can never have too many clothes. Inside the case was a brown wig. Petra certainly liked to dress up. I picked up the wig. At the very least, it would stop her from using it again to impersonate me. It was an ornate hand basin. The fixtures and fittings were very old. The hand basin had hot and cold running water. Cold running water anyway. The hand basin had hot and cold running water. Petra's brown wig. She was certainly into disguises. Not right now. That wasn't appropriate. The wig didn't need drying when it wasn't wet. I picked the wig up again while I thought about what I should do. The hand basin had hot and cold running water. The hand basin had hot and cold running water. Not right now. That wasn't the right thing to do. I thought about it, but decided against it. Not this time. That wouldn't work here. That wasn't a good idea. I picked the wig up again while I thought about what I should do. I thought about it, but decided against it. The wig was sitting in the hand basin. It looked like a dead animal. I wondered whether this was really likely to work. No way was I doing that. The dresser was locked. Apart from a range of tacky clothes, there was nothing left in the case. That's interesting. The case looked a lot smaller on the inside. The base sounded hollow. I guess there was a hidden compartment inside. All I had to do was find a way of opening it. I felt around the interior, trying to access the hidden compartment. Aha! Tucked into one corner was a tiny button. Damn! My fingers were too large to press the button. Oh my God! I doubted she used the knives to open letters. The weapons were all locked in place. Inside was a serious selection of knives and other weapons. Petra was a killer who obviously took pride in her work. There was also something wrapped in a small rag. I picked up the sharpening stone. The weapons were all locked in place. The stone was well used. Petra clearly took great pride in keeping her knives sharp. That wouldn't work here. I had no reason to do that. I thought about it, but decided against it. That wouldn't work here. I had no reason to do that. Not this time. Dressed like this, the guards would recognize me as an intruder straight away. I couldn't open the door. Not this time. I had no reason to do that. Not this time. No way was I doing that. That wasn't the right thing to do. Not this time. The armor was old and rusty. I didn't want to touch it in case it made a noise. I had no reason to do that. I had no reason to do that. That wasn't a good idea. The wig didn't need drying when it wasn't wet. I picked the wig up again while I thought about what I should do. The hand basin had hot and cold running water. The hand basin had hot and cold running water. The hand basin had hot and cold running water. No way was I doing that. There was no reason to try that. That wasn't the right thing to do. I had no reason to do that. That wasn't the right thing to do. That wasn't appropriate. That wouldn't work here. I had no reason to do that. The weapons were all locked in place. Not this time. It was an old wooden door. Not this time. That wasn't a good idea. Just another locked door. That wasn't a good idea. I couldn't open the door. It was locked. No way was I doing that. Not right now. I thought about it, but decided against it. Not right now. That wasn't the right thing to do. That wasn't the right thing to do. A chef was cutting vegetables at a chopping board. He was struggling and didn't look too happy. The chef was giving those vegetables hell. The warning signs all over the bottle left me in no doubt as to what it was. It was a large bottle of industrial bleach.
Hey, you! What the hell do you think you're doing?
I needed to clean the toilets.
Not with my bleach, you don't. Go and get your own bottle. I'm sick of people nicking my stuff.
Okay. Sorry. It was a large glass-fronted freezer. Inside I could see frozen hams and chickens all stacked up on the shelves. There was enough to feed an army. Cesaro's army. The vegetables had been badly sliced. What was this guy using? A hammer and chisel? Presentation was obviously not his strong point.
Hey! Get your thieving hands off my carrots!
Sorry, they just looked so tasty.
The last person who tried that lost a finger. If you want to keep painting your nails, I suggest you keep your mitts off.
The chef was giving those vegetables hell. Hi there, do you have a moment?
A moment? Well now, let me think. I've 50 dinners to cook for 50 fat guzzling guards, with pudding I might add, plus one vegan speciality de la maison for Madame Petra, plus one macrobiotic for Senior Sensitive Skin Cesaro. I've got no assistants, I've got a kitchen out of the Stone Age, and she asks, do I have a moment? No, woman, I do not have a flaming moment! Just get out of my kitchen!
The answer's no, then.
Yes, the answer's no! Who the hell are you anyway?
Susan.
Susan? What kind of a pathetic girly name is that?
It's a name for a girl.
Well, change it. I don't like it.
Could I take your bleach?
Oh, now this is getting beyond a joke. There's a million varieties of crap I can put up with, but I'll not have people stealing from my kitchen.
I only wanted to borrow it.
Only? Only? It's a slippery slope, do you not see? There'll be another time, and then a time after that, until one day I shall have no bleach whatsoever. It's bad enough they give me a kitchen your Stone Age man would turn his nose up at. But when wee strips of girls drop in wanting to take my bleach without so much as a by your leave, I tell you, I contemplate murder.
Oops. Sorry I asked. No offense, but those vegetables aren't very well chopped.
Says the vegetable chopping expert, no doubt. Well, as it happens, you're right. I admit it. They are crap. In fact, they are worse than crap. They are crap to the nth degree of crap. And do you know why?
No, but I think you're going to tell me.
These vegetables are crap because my knives are blunt.
Oh, so why don't you sharpen them then?
Oh, stupid, stupid, stupid chef! Why didn't I think of that? Sharpen the knives. Brilliant! You're a genius, woman! Oh, wait! Silly me! I forgot! I haven't got anything to sharpen them with!
Excuse me, but could you make use of this?
A grindstone! Finally, somebody in this god-forsaken kitchen is using a bit of initiative! Don't suppose you fancy a job as kitchen assistant? The money's crap, the hours stink, conditions are worse, but it'll make a man out of you.
No thanks.
Young people today don't know which side their bread's buttered.
Just one more question. How did you end up here?
Give 70 people food poisoning just once and you pay for it for the rest of your life.
I must remember not to eat anything while I'm here. Now that the chef wasn't watching, I could reach the bleach. Suddenly, I didn't have much of an appetite. The vegetables had been badly sliced. Not this time. I thought about it, but decided against it. The chef seemed almost human now he had his sharpening stone. That was my good deed for the day. There was no reason to try that. I hoped it would bleach the wig blonde. The bleach was strong. The wig's color disappeared almost instantly. The wig was soaking wet. I didn't want to carry that around with me. Besides, the bleach would have dripped onto my clothes. Somehow I didn't think Petra was into tie-dye. The hairdryer was perfect. I fancied one of them for myself. Voila! Perfectly dry now. Showtime! The hand basin had hot and cold running water.
Hey! Who's there?
Uh-oh!
It was a damaged stone gargoyle. It looked very unstable. I'm all for conservation, but needs must if the devil drives. No sounds came from behind the door. Locked. Maybe from the other side? It was a beautifully carved gargoyle. It stared at me with its beady little eyes. There's only so much you can do with a gargoyle, so I decided to leave it alone. Nope, that wouldn't work here. I had no reason to try that. There's only so much you can do with a gargoyle, so I decided to leave it alone. There's only so much you can do with a gargoyle, so I decided to leave it alone. The window was open. They obviously didn't think they needed tight security up here, but no one is safe from George the Cat Stobart. There was nothing behind the door, or my ear problem was back. It was an old, ornate oil lamp. It looked like it hadn't been used for years. The lamp had an old knob that I guessed was for turning it on. Oh, yuck! At least the knob worked. No way was I doing that. Not this time. That wasn't the right approach. Nope, that wouldn't work here. That wouldn't work here. That wasn't such a good idea. The oil dripping onto the floor was a fire hazard. That wouldn't work here. No way was I doing that. I had no reason to try that. That wasn't the right approach. No way was I doing that. That door wasn't going to open. The window led to another area of the castle. I could see a walkway on the other side. The window led to another area of the castle. The door had no remarkable features. There was nothing behind the door, or my ear problem was back. Locked. Maybe from the other side? There was an old iron grate set into the floor. Below it was a pit with a window that led into the castle. There was a chance that I could have got through there if I lifted the grate. The grate only opened a little way. The hinges were badly rusted. There had to be a way to free those hinges. It was an old drain pipe, rusted and bent. An offshoot pipe had been blocked by an old tin cup. The old drain pipe ran up the wall, but looked like it was broken. Just as well, the pipe was wet and slimy. The old drain pipe ran up the wall, but looked like it was broken. The old drain pipe ran up the wall, but looked like it was broken. That wasn't the right approach. The oil started to drip again. I collected a small amount of oil in the old cup. The oil dripping onto the floor was a fire hazard. I hoped the oil would free the hinges. I could almost hear the hinges sighing with relief. Here goes. A book title sprang to mind. 1,001 uses for lamp oil.
Madame Petra, we didn't hear you arrive.
Obviously.
And did you have a pleasant journey?
No. Now get back to your jobs. Both of you.
Our apologies, ma'am.
Security is too lax around here.
Yes, ma'am. Your belongings have been taken up to your apartment.
Good.
Miserable bitch.
Just some delivery notes. Some were for food, others for washing powder. I would have hated to do the laundry for this lot. The guard was sitting at the desk reading. It looked like a children's book. Any news?
It's been pretty quiet.
What about an attack from inside?
Everything is battened down tight.
Good. Now, would you care to explain why you are reading on duty?
Just trying to improve myself, ma'am.
Do it again, and the next book you buy will be in Braille.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
Where was the prisoner taken?
To Senor Suzaro's office in the lower levels.
Is he on his own?
2 guards went with him, ma'am. He cannot escape.
For your sake, he'd better not. The door looked pretty secure. It wouldn't have looked out of place in Fort Knox. The security door had no handle or visible way of opening it, but there was a card reader on the wall. There was no reason to try that. I have some questions. The security door over there. Could anyone get through it?
No, ma'am. It's the most secure there is. Oh, by the way, ma'am, have you had a chance to see the security sergeant yet?
Yes, we've spoken.
Okay. Then you'll already have your pass card for the door.
I have some questions. The guard was scared of me. Well, of Petra, at least. I just had to keep him from learning the truth. Everything all right?
Bit nervous, ma'am. It's my first day on the job.
Just make sure no one gets in, and it won't be your last. Going blonde had brought out the mean streak in me. I rather enjoyed it. You see this pencil?
Yes, ma'am.
There are 15 ways I can kill a man using this.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
The guard was armed and looked dangerous. I knew he'd kill me without a second thought, but at the same time, he probably believed I was a cold-blooded killer too. What's your job here?
To make sure that no one gets through the front entrance, ma'am.
I fought the urge to tell him to drop and give me 20. How many men do we have on the grounds?
A double complement on the perimeter, ma'am. No one gets in or out without us knowing. Guaranteed.
If that was his idea of a guarantee, I wasn't shopping for watches locally. Anything to report?
There was a broken down car near the front gate.
Anything suspicious?
Just some stupid French woman who probably ran out of gas.
I was going to remember this guy. Stupid French woman, indeed. The guard looked pretty unpleasant and smelled even worse. The dog looked as though he could kill at any moment. I thought about stroking the dog's head, but remembered how fond I was of my fingers. The guard looked pretty unpleasant and smelled even worse. Hello. I wonder if you can help me.
Are you Madame Petra?
That's right.
How can I help you, ma'am?
That's a very fierce-looking dog.
Trained to kill as soon as he's released, ma'am.
Good. Just don't release him near me. Understand?
No, ma'am. You hear that, rascal? You're not to hurt the nice lady.
Rascal? I thought about stroking the dog's head, but remembered how fond I was of my fingers. The doors were locked tight. There was nothing of use in the trash can. There was nothing of use in the trash can. There was nothing in there I could use. There was nothing else I could use in the trash can. I couldn't see anything else that would be useful. Hello, Boris. I wonder if you could help me.
How did you know my name?
It's my job to know everything.
You look familiar.
I'm Madame Petra.
Sorry, Mom. I didn't realize.
Well, now you do. Anything to report?
No, Mom. Nothing.
No suspicious characters?
There was a tourist earlier, but I think she's gone.
Think?
She's gone, Mom. No doubt at all. Mom.
That wasn't a good idea. The dog was quiet. I sensed he was contemplating his next meal. Me. I normally enjoyed petting dogs, but I drew the line at wolves. The guard looked well trained. You! I need some help.
You're Madame Petra, isn't that right?
No, I'm Madonna.
Whoa!
Idiot! Of course I'm Madame Petra. What a disgusting dog!
Thank you, Mom.
What's his name?
Raptor.
How appropriate. More appropriate than the rascal. As you were?
Yes, ma'am.
As you were?
Yes, Mom.
The man didn't look as though he had been employed for his charm. This guy looked like he had more authority than the others. This place is a mess.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't know you.
I am Madame Petra. Isn't it obvious?
Of course, ma'am. I should have realized.
Who are you? Come on. I haven't got all day.
Sergeant of Security, ma'am.
I am Madame Petra. I have just arrived.
Of course, ma'am. I have a security card for you. Here you are.
Thanks. Get on with it.
Yes, ma'am.
The guard looked like he knew what he was doing with his gun.
I am Madame Petra.
Yes, ma'am. Pleased to meet you, ma'am.
Why is your dog behind that fence?
We need to keep him from the other dogs.
Why? Do they fight?
No, he's got worms.
I'm not surprised, given the food here.
There was no reason to try that. There was no reason to try that. I didn't want to do that. That wasn't appropriate. It was the security card that should have been given to Petra. That wasn't the right thing to do. The doors led into the building foyer. It was the security layout for some part of the building. I had no idea where. I didn't really want to go messing with things I didn't know about. The woman was hunched over a computer terminal. She was really into her work and doing a fine job of ignoring me. There was a large group of computers all whirring loudly. I wasn't about to go switching off the computers. The computer was processing something, but what? I was risking my life here dressed as Petra. The last thing I wanted to do was break something and draw attention to myself. Excuse me.
Please, ma'am, do not interrupt me. I cannot afford mistakes.
I need you to answer a few questions. What exactly is it that you are doing?
I'm sorry, ma'am. I have strict instructions to report only to Senor Cesaro until we have finished our preparations for the armillery.
Yes, of course. This card required validating. Could you do that for me?
Of course, ma'am. There you are. Now please excuse me, Madame Petra. I must get on with my work. Senor Cesaro will be very upset if I don't finish this.
I have some questions.
Yes?
It was the security card that should have been given to Petra. Not this time. I was risking my life here dressed as Petra. The last thing I wanted to do was break something and draw attention to myself. Suddenly, I didn't have much of an appetite. There was no reason to try that. That wouldn't work
Suddenly,
here. I didn't have much of an appetite. The door was a pretty old one. I have some questions. There was no way to open the door directly. No way was I doing that. I needed a working keycard to open the door. After what I'd been through to get the card, I was desperate to see what lurked down below. It was an old prison cell. Damn! This must have been where Bruno was being held. I hoped I wasn't too late. The cell was locked and empty. Oh no! Someone was coming.
It was the laundry that I had landed in. The aromatic effect of over 400 cheesy feet was mind-blowing. I knew that stealing putrid socks wouldn't solve anything. Somebody in this castle had a serious washing powder fixation. My old Navy SEALs manual had a special section, assessing enemy strength utilizing captured washing powder drums. Shame I couldn't remember the equation. I didn't need to take any of the washing powder. The door was locked. This was beginning to feel more and more like a prison. There had to be some way of opening the door. The washing machine slid sweetly onto the trolley. Nope, that wouldn't work here. Well, here goes. Yes! A modern door set into the damp basement walls. The door backed out into the basement corridors. It was no use. The door was shut tight. If only I had the key card to open it.
Take that, you!
Oh! Why you?
George?
Who?
It's me, Nico.
Jeez, I thought you were Petra.
often sneak up on girls like that, do you?
Only blondes.
So it's true. They do have more fun.
Hang on to the wig and find out.
Trailer trash chic. Not really my style.
Ouch. So how come you're down here?
Did you notice the extra security? I'm guessing that Bruno must be close.
So what are we waiting for? Nico looked just like Petra. You know, it's a tacky outfit, but you look okay in it.
Oh, thanks.
Some guys just know how to compliment a lady, I guess. Damn!
What are you doing?
Shh! Guards! They're guarding a door over there. That's got to be where Bruno is.
I could get past, but you would be shot if you tried. You need to find a way to fool them.
Hey, Nico.
Yes, George?
So, did you find Bruno?
No, I don't know where he could be. The guards in the entrance hall said that he had been moved to Cesaro's office. Down here somewhere.
I have to admit, the blonde hair is a bit strange.
Oh, really? Nobody said anything.
That's because the outfit's so scary. They're all terrified of you. I can't get past the guard dressed like this.
I could pretend that you are my prisoner.
Too risky. Hey, Nico.
Yes, George?
Hey, Nico. Can you do something with this lock? I don't have anything to open it.
Where would you be without me, George?
The locker had some guards' uniforms hanging inside. Looks like green is the new black for bad guys. Well, this should help me move around more easily. Nico, could you turn your back, please?
You are joking.
I know, but it's these shorts. Not very flattering.
Oh, fine. Quickly, get it over and done with.
There, changed.
Oh, you look nice.
I bet you say that to all the guards. Hey, Nico.
Yes, George?
I was already wearing a uniform. I didn't need another. Right. Here goes.
Madame Petra, I wasn't informed you were back.
As you can see, I am. And this is urgent.
I ought to check with the front desk.
You are holding me up. Now, unless you want your appendages rearranging, I suggest you open the door.
Of course, ma'am. My apologies.
It was a large metal door with a numeric keypad to one side. I didn't have the code to open the door, and I didn't want to risk raising the alarm. Nope, that wouldn't work here. No way was I doing that. Hey, Nico.
Yes, George?
Nico, keep quiet and come and look at this.
It's Bruno.
I don't think there's anyone in there with him.
Can we risk it?
We've got to. Hey, Bruno!
Bruno, it's Nico.
And George.
Hey, fellas, nice of you to drop by.
Are you okay?
Oh, sure. I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, I'm in constant pain. I've had more electricity through me than a small town in winter. But heck, now you're here, who gives a damn?
You're so brave.
Lady, I grew up in Eastern Europe. We did torture in kindergarten.
Have you told him anything?
Everything. But the one thing Cesaro wants,
And what's that?
who has got the key of Solomon?
But we don't know who's got it.
Exactly.
Well, it doesn't matter now. We're coming into... Shh.
That was the gatehouse. Petra has arrived at last.
I am so pleased for you.
Thank you. I find torture such a soulless task without an audience.
Oh, I know.
And she is so imaginative. Such a source of new ideas.
I appreciate that.
Yes, Bruno, I truly believe you will. And look on the bright side. When you tell us who has the key, even then we will not kill you. We need you too much. My dear girl.
Has he talked yet?
No, but I'm sure you will persuade him.
I'm going to enjoy it.
Now, Stobart and the girl. I hope you bring me good news.
I found them, but I'm afraid they got away. I'm sorry.
They have too much luck.
There is worse, Master. Let him in.
All right, boss. Not this idiot.
Forgive me, sir, but there is something you must hear. Flap, tell Senor Cesaro what you told me in Paris.
What? About that nightclub and those girls?
No. About the safe.
Oh, yeah. Well, it wasn't, was it?
Wasn't what?
Wasn't safe?
Get on with it, Flap.
That Stobart girl, she came back to the theater, took some documents.
What documents?
A picture of a castle in Prague.
This castle.
Very good. Give the man a cigar.
Flap.
Sorry, sir.
Wait, what is that?
Do you like it? It's my new scarf. That Stobart girl left it behind in Paris.
What is it?
You can go, Flap. Get out.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Bruno, it's your lucky day. Now I know who has the key. We do not need to put Petra to work on you.
No? How?
The emblem on the scarf. It is the crest of the St. Stephen chapter of the Knights Templar.
I thought they had disappeared centuries ago.
Clearly not. And I know exactly where to find them. That fool Flap had the answer all along, wrapped round his thick neck.
Collard must be working for them.
So, now we must change our plans. I shall go to Paris to retrieve the key. You take Ostwald to the armillery to prepare. Give the order that all personnel are to prepare to move out.
It's time, isn't it?
Yes, my dear. It is time.
The grill looked through to some kind of office. It could give access if the grill itself wasn't in the way. The grill was screwed tight to the wall. I wasn't going to be able to pull it off with my hands. I had no reason to try that. Hey, Nico.
Yes, George?
I didn't have the code to open the door, and I didn't want to risk raising the alarm. I thought about it, but decided not to do it. No way was I doing that. I couldn't pull it free while it was screwed to the wall. There wasn't a reason to try that. I thought about it, but decided not to do it. Now, that wasn't quite right. If we tried to get out of the castle that way, then we'd be caught for sure. There had to be another way out. I couldn't hear anything behind the door, probably because it was about 5 inches thick and made of toughened steel. Hey, Nico.
Yes, George?
I couldn't pull it free while it was screwed to the wall. I needed to get the grill open. I needed to get the grill open. There wasn't a reason to try that. Now, that wasn't quite right. I couldn't pull it free while it was screwed to the wall. That wouldn't work here. That wasn't such a good idea. Nope, that wouldn't work here. Not this time. Nope, that wouldn't work here. Nope, that wouldn't work here. No way was I doing that. That wouldn't work here. That wasn't the right approach. Now, that wasn't quite right. That wasn't such a good idea. The edge of the coin was just the right size to unfasten the screws. I couldn't get through the narrow gap.
George, when I first knew you, that would have been no problem.
Guess I must be carrying a little more muscle, huh?
Yeah, the fat kind.
Okay. Look, whatever I said about you in that wig, I apologize.
Apology accepted.
Phew.
Won't make you any thinner, though.
I couldn't get through the narrow gap. Nico?
Yes?
I don't like to ask, but...
Would I climb through the grill and open the door from the inside?
Amazing. You read my mind.
You're just so predictable, George. You owe me one.
That's okay. I'm not counting. Nico, look!
It's some kind of map of ley lines.
See the area in the middle?
It matches the diagram in Vernon's video.
It seems to have its focus somewhere in Egypt.
So do you think that's where they've taken Bruno?
Oh, I think so. The armillary must be in Egypt.
Well, that should be easy enough to find.
Sure. I mean, how big can a country be? It was an electronic map of the world. Ley lines were represented in red. They all merged at one point over Egypt. It was a map of some small country in Europe. I couldn't make out where, though. Maybe it was Cesaro's homeland. Cesaro certainly looked after his suits of armor. I suppose even bad guys have hobbies. I would never be able to fit into that armor. In any case, what good would it do me if I could? It looked like a very old map. Somewhere in England, I think. It was a large shield with weapons mounted on the wall. The shield bore a crest I didn't recognize. I imagined myself taking them with me, but then I thought better of it. That wasn't the right approach.
That wasn't such a good idea.
I didn't fancy my chances fighting my way out with those. I decided to leave them alone. Nope, that wouldn't work here. Books on Egypt and Egyptian culture. It would take months to trawl through this and decipher it all. Cesaro and Petra had left through some kind of passage behind that panel. There had to be a release somewhere. I couldn't hear anything through the panel. Cesaro's desk was straight out of the Megalomaniac catalog. Aha! Look at this.
What is it?
Secret button hidden under the edge of the desk. Maybe it opens the door. It was a large, round red button. Only thing missing were the words "Press Me." Buttons like this traditionally opened up the floor to reveal a tank full of killer sharks. The panel was made of wood. I couldn't see any way of opening it. But the release mechanism had to be somewhere in the room. If the world ends when I press this, then I'm sorry for all the nasty things I've ever said about you.
George, just get on with it.
Okay, sorry.
Well done, George.
Let's go and rescue Bruno.
Out of interest, what nasty things?
Oh, you know, the usual.
The usual? Go on.
The desk was too heavy to move. And besides, we needed to find a way to follow after Bruno. The panel was already open. Hey, Nico.
Yes, George?
Where do you think that secret passage leads to?
I have no idea. Could be a quick route for Cesaro to get out.
Well, it's our only exit now. Going back out through the castle would be madness.
Andre, what are you doing here?
I thought I'd keep Beatrice company.
Andre took me to the cinema.
What did you see, Nosferatu?
George.
Andre, we need your help.
Of course.
What do you want him to do?
That symbol on the scarf?
Yes?
Cesaro recognized it instantly.
It's the coat of arms of the St. Stephen chapter of the Templars.
My God.
What?
I always thought it was just a story.
Look, Andre, tell us what you know.
Tell us, chérie.
The St. Stephen chapter was reputed to have escaped the Inquisition by hiding in secret chambers. Somewhere in Paris. No one knew where, though previously they had their base near the old church at Montfaucon.
Maybe I can find a clue in the old Templar meeting place.
What do you mean?
The Templars used to meet in secret in the catacombs there.
Of course.
There's more.
Go on.
It involves the founding of the chapter.
We don't have time for tales, Andre.
Listen, Nico, if there's one thing I've come to realize, it's that you can't have too much information. Carry on, Andre.
Thank you, George. When the Templars were in possession of the Temple Mount in Israel, they discovered a holy relic. A young knight, Stephan, was given the task of transporting it secretly to France. He traveled north through Galilee and then headed to the coast where he boarded a ship destined for the river Po. Making his way up the Po Valley, Stephan avoided known dangers to the west by heading north to the Rheingau. Pursued into France by the forces of a treasure-hunting prince, he was forced to make a stand in the mountains of Reims. Though able to dispose of his foes, he was fatally wounded. Bravely, he continued to his destination, the Bérentoire Preceptory, handed the relic to the master of the chapter, then died. The order changed its name to Saint Stephan, in honor of the brave knight, and relocated to Paris.
It's like a fairy tale.
Good grief.
I'm going to head for Montfaucon to look for clues. Nico?
You go without me, George. Andre and I will see if we can work out the exact location in Egypt.
Right. Well, I'll see you soon then.
Off you go, George.
I was back in Montfaucon Square after all these years. Beneath the cobbles lay a hidden world of ancient waterways and catacombs, some of it built by the Knights Templar as a meeting place and sanctuary. Once again, I was going to have to go down there to discover the truth. In the open tool bag, I could see a sewer key.
Hey, monsieur! Leave those tools alone!
Me? Oh, I was just admiring them.
Well, do it from further away!
The mustache, the attitude, the ass hanging out of the pants. It was the same guy I'd met years ago at the bombed-out cafe. Of course, back then I was still in Fighting Evil Conspiracies Junior League. Hi, how you doing?
Ça va? As long as we don't have another earthquake.
Well, you should be safe here, by the old church.
You're joking. Look at it.
But it's medieval.
Medieval? Shoddy, you mean? Should be torn down and replaced with something modern.
Really?
Something nice in concrete and steel. Built to be earthquake-proof.
You think there's gonna be more quakes?
Of course. And look at all that rubble. The thing's a death trap. Wait a minute. You seem very familiar to me, monsieur.
Me? Oh, I doubt it.
But of course. You're the guy who gave me that racing tip.
Oh, right, so I am.
That horse made a fortune for me. Turned my whole life around.
Guess I'm just a natural.
It's a gift, monsieur, a gift.
But how come you're still digging up roads?
I've got my own company now, monsieur. And a drill, see? Not a pick. If you have any more tips like that one...
You'll be the first to know. What exactly are you doing here?
These damned earthquakes are screwing everything up. There's plenty of stuff underground needs fixing after that last shock.
So you're digging a hole for the utilities guys to get to the damage?
That's it. And the sooner we're out of here, the happier I'll be.
You said we. I don't see anybody else working.
My workmate, Alphonse, is snoring up a storm in the cab of my truck.
Why isn't he helping you?
Medical exemption. He's got a piece of paper from his doctor saying he is clinically seismophobic.
He's afraid of earthquakes?
Just so, monsieur.
And you believe it?
You can't argue with a piece of paper, can you?
So, how did you end up with this Alphonse guy?
Positive discrimination. We have to take on a set number of cowardly idiots every year.
I was just wondering, that sewer key you have there.
No?
I haven't even asked yet.
You were going to. You got a thing about sewers, haven't you?
Well, yeah, maybe, but...
My old sewer key went missing after our last meeting.
Hey, don't forget, I gave you that winning horse.
True. So, get me another winner, and I'll let you make free with my toolbox.
Some hope. I'd have to think of another way of getting it. Ah, the Montfaucon manhole. Happy memories. I couldn't lift a big iron cover like that with my bare hands. The guy was sleeping like a baby. Hey, you! I'd seen dead people with more life in them than this guy. It was the compressor that powered the pneumatic drill.
Mon Dieu! So help me! Hey! Alphonse! What do you think you're doing, idiot?
While the workman was looking the other way, I borrowed his sewer key. Funny, every time I get involved in saving the world, I turn into a kleptomaniac. I didn't want anything else in the bag.
I am tired of arguing with you! Just be sure it doesn't happen again, huh?
On the boarded-up door was a notice. Due to local seismic events and out of concern for the safety of our patrons, we will be closed for the foreseeable future. I didn't want the notice, and I didn't want to break into the cafe. It was a clean, well-maintained pissoir.
Now wash your hands!
A little old lady was sitting by the urinal, or pissoir, as the French call them. I guessed she was some kind of concierge. Hi, how are you?
Alive, thank God.
I know the feeling. Nice view of Montfaucon Square you've got here.
What's the point of a view when life's not worth a sou?
Hey, you're not one of those crazy, hip-happening street poets, are you?
Don't be ridiculous, monsieur. I look after a pissoir.
Have you met that road worker over there?
Bah! That dog comes over here willy-nilly taking advantage of my facilities.
Isn't that what your facilities are for?
Yes, sir. But not with such enjoyment.
What do you mean, enjoyment?
He whistles, he sighs, he spits, and he jiggles.
Jiggles, huh?
Jiggles. He has no shame.
That's a problem.
It's a national disgrace.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, it's a urinal, not a cathedral.
Ah, men, you are all the same. And when you are not jiggling, you are watching football. Go!
This wasn't going to be easy. The lady clearly needed years of Jungian analysis, and I didn't have time to wait. So what do?
I'm a brain surgeon. What do you think?
I think you look after this pissoir.
Zut alors! No flies on you, monsieur.
As long as I don't go in there.
And just what is that supposed to mean? Huh?
Whoa, my mistake. I backed off. It's a well-known fact that toilet attendants account for the majority of homicides in France. Must be the bleach blocks. You take pride in your work?
This pissoir is the cleanest and most hygienic in all France.
That must take a lot of dedication.
Yes, sir. In this job, the harder you work, the more other people just pass water upon your efforts.
I know the feeling. It's all very well having urinals here if I want to... But if a guy wants to, you know...
You shall have to use facilities elsewhere, monsieur. As you can see, the toilets were damaged in the earth tremor.
No, I wasn't leaving here until I had something to show for it. One of these days, I was going to see this fountain working. Not today, though. There wasn't a whole bunch I could do with the fountain except admire it.
Hey!
What? Who, me?
What do you think you're doing up there?
Admiring the view. I can see right into your pissoir from here.
Pervert! Get down from there before I call the police.
Okay, I'm coming. With only the faintest shudder of déjà vu, I prepared once again to get intimate with the Parisian sewers. Come on, you piece of... I couldn't understand it. I'd once lifted this very manhole easily. Perhaps I'd let myself go.
Eh, monsieur? That's not my sewer key by any chance?
No! What do you take me for?
You just happen to carry one around with you.
Of course. Doesn't everybody?
Sure. Anyway, you're wasting your time. That cover was welded down years ago, during the Sieur Jacques Panique.
Great. If I wanted to shift that cover, it'd take something a whole bunch stronger than me. I didn't feel the need for another gratuitous whiz. Hi again. Any good gutters around here?
Quoi? A gutter?
Yeah, a common roadside gutter. I need to whiz, lady.
A whiz? What is this whiz, monsieur? Mon Dieu! You mean you wish to... in a gutter? But monsieur, you have already used the facilities.
Don't remind me. It's just that when nature calls, there's sometimes a bit of an echo. You know what I mean?
Why, in the name of all that is hygienic, do you want to use a gutter when there is a perfectly clean pissoir here?
That might pass for clean in the old world, lady. But I'd rather whiz in a gutter any day.
This is an outrage. I shall investigate.
You do that. A length of rope hung from the scaffolding. You never know when you might need a length of rope. The length of rope had come from the scaffolding.
Hey! You up there!
Oh, hi there!
I will not have some peeping Toms spying on my customers while they do their business!
Hey, I'm not spying on anybody.
Want to explain that to the police?
No, not really. Coming down. There was no anchor point to tie the rope to. I couldn't lift a big iron cover like that with my bare hands, especially not if it was welded shut. I didn't have the horsepower to lift that cover, but I knew something that did.
Hey! What are you doing?
Just setting something up. You'll love this.
You've anchored the van.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question. Your driver,
Alphonse, damn his cowardly liver,
is scared of earthquakes, right? What would he do if there was an earthquake right now?
he'd slam the truck into gear and get out of here like... Oh,
That's right. With a manhole following him home.
he would never live it down.
Is that a bad thing?
No, that's what sells your crazy scheme to me.
I left it alone. There's only so much fun you can have with a compressor. I left it alone. There's only so much fun you can have with a compressor. Earthquake! Earthquake!
Magnifique! I don't know what I'll tell the insurance people, monsieur, but it was worth it.
Sprinkling sunshine into people's lives. I guess that was what I lived for. But right now, the sewer beckoned. I didn't want anything else from the bag. My gateway to the subterranean world of Paris lay waiting. This archway had been bricked up, and not that long ago either. No mystery there. I was the one who wrecked the original in the first place. The wall was well built and very, very solid. There was a faint inscription, but the decaying plaster made it almost impossible to read. I could make out some medieval French and some Latin, but not enough to squeeze out any meaning. I left the ancient archway alone. The inscriptions in the arches probably once told the truth about the extermination of the Templars. Like a lot of truths, time had blurred it. There was nothing I could do with the ancient archway that wouldn't have upset archaeologists. A big, spooky skull stared out at me. The mouth looked out of proportion. I didn't like the idea of putting my hand in the skull's mouth. But hey, what the heck? I was only risking mutilation. No blade took my hand off at the wrist, and no spider bit me, for which I was very grateful. But there was nothing in there to help me either. The skull's mouth had the same shape as the stone cylinder. Aha! I could write a book on secret doors. I really could. door was ajar. I could hear voices. There were a couple of Cesaro's men, and they had brought a dog.
You hear something?
Nah.
How much longer we gotta be here?
Like the boss says, till it's all over.
Or till that yank turns up and we kill him?
Yeah. And no guesses which one I'd prefer.
Me too. I hate that guy.
Well, now, let's be accurate, eh? You hate everyone.
True. True.
I couldn't risk attracting their attention. I could hear the men moving around. I would have been caught if I'd gone through the door. I had to find another way in without being seen. Oh my God! Something truly nasty had happened here. A trail of blood led round the corner. There was a large pool of blood on the floor. We weren't talking chickens here. A trail of blood led away. Either someone had crawled away or been dragged. I wasn't going to dip my fingers in this stuff. It was still fresh. No way was I doing that. Cesaro and his men must have come through that way. They must have blocked it off behind them so no one else could get out that way. I wasn't going to get through there in a hurry. The bars were several inches thick. I'd arrived too late. Cesaro and his men had shown no mercy for these poor souls. How could anyone do this? Cesaro's men had shown no mercy. It was one of the Templars. He'd been badly beaten. Cesaro's men had shown no mercy. I didn't want to, but I had to search the body. The only thing on him was an old rusty key. I'd already searched him. I didn't want to do it again. I just wanted to leave him in peace. The microwave's oven control panel was smashed, but the 10-second button was still intact. Only useful if you needed to cook something for less than a minute, of course. I decided not to operate it. The noise might alert any nearby guards. It was a very expensive coffee machine. Cesaro's men had smashed it up pretty good. I guess they didn't like coffee. It was too beaten up to work. My heart was racing enough already. I didn't need coffee. It was an old key. I had no reason to try that. The sink was full of dirty, used mugs. The attack had obviously been sudden and unexpected. It was one of the Templars. He'd been badly beaten. I just wanted to leave him in peace. An unfinished chess game. There were only 2 pieces left, a bishop and a king. It was a no-win situation. A fire had been burning. It was still smoldering. The attack must have happened within the last few hours. One of Cesaro's men was guarding the kitchen. I couldn't get through while he was there. I was gonna have to find a way to distract him. I had no reason to try that. No way was I doing that. I had no reason to try that. No way was I doing that. Now that wasn't quite right. That wasn't such a good idea. No way was I doing that. That wouldn't work here. Nope, that wouldn't work here. I had no reason to try that. Nope, that wouldn't work here. It was too beaten up to work. I thought about it, but decided not to do it. No way was I doing that. That wouldn't work here. Now that wasn't quite right. There wasn't a reason to try that. That wouldn't work here. Not this time. Not this time. The sink was full of dirty, used mugs. Nope, that wouldn't work here. No way was I doing that. I thought about it, but decided not to do it. Not this time. The microwave suddenly sprang into life. It was going to make a noise. I had to hide, fast. There was no point locking the door while it was open. Mission accomplished. The guy was now trapped in the room. I locked the door for a reason. I needed that guard to stay in there. If I'd let him out, he'd have killed me for sure. I could hear the guy muttering to himself. He sure didn't sound happy. The guard had sat down to a hearty meal. Beans, egg, some chicken. How could anyone sit down to eat a meal surrounded by this carnage? It looked like an old map of Europe. Had to be 500 years old. Some cast iron pots with broth simmering in them. Sweet smells wafted over. On the shelves were a mixture of canned foods and game. Pheasant and beans, a Stobart family favorite. Barrels full of hops and beer. It looks like the Templars even brewed their own beer. That was strange. The blood trail led to the wine rack, but then completely disappeared. No pool of blood, no body, no nothing. It was a bottle of French wine, Chateau Barentois. It was a bottle of Israeli wine, Carmel Sauvignon Blanc. It was a bottle of Italian wine, Modena Lambrusco. It was a bottle of Israeli wine, Carmel Sauvignon Blanc. It was a bottle of German wine, Wiesbaden. It was a bottle of French champagne, Montagne de Reims. It was a bottle of French champagne, Montagne de Reims. Damn, that's not right. Damn, that's not right. Damn, that's not right. Damn, that's not right.